Aside from being part of one of the biggest and longest running franchises, Resident Evil 4 made a massive impact not only in the series, but on gaming as a whole. The game is well regarded as one of the most influential games of the 2000s, due to how much it redefined the survival horror genre and third-person shooters. With Capcom recreating games in the series recently, it was only a matter of time before they returned to this legendary title. So join us here today at Game 8 Information Station to see if this remake can hold a candle to the legacy of the original, all the while being distinct enough to shine on its own. Disclaimer: the score given in the video is based on the presentation of pre-release info and does not reflect a finalized score of the game. We will be making a follow-up video post-release, reviewing the game to give a well-informed final score. The plot of Resident Evil 4 Remake stays true to the original with some adjustments to make the overall story feel more coherent. It still tells the exploits of Leon S. Kennedy, now working as a US agent after the Raccoon City incident, and his mission to rescue the president's daughter after being kidnapped by a mysterious cult. Leon then travels to somewhere in Spain to follow a lead regarding a cult. Here he encounters infected villagers that are part of the said cult known as Los Iluminados. Leon eventually finds Ashley. However, bigger problems soon arise as they both find out they are infected with the same parasite as the cult members. Now they have to find a cure, all the while trying to escape this maniacal cult. The Las Plagas parasite infecting our duo is now much more of an obstacle compared to the original. We get to see Ashley at times succumbing to the parasite and even raising a gun to Leon at one point. Speaking of Ashley, there's more content involving the president's daughter. In one of the earlier trailers, she was seen running from what is possibly her captors. This could be one of the earlier segments of the game way before we get to play as Leon. Luis Serra, one of the friendly characters in the original game, also makes a comeback in the remake, but his role is much more prominent now than before. Compared to the original RE4 where Luis only shows up for brief moments throughout the game, he's much more of a companion now, helping Leon for a chapter or so, and even lending a hand in the double El Gigante boss fight. Back in 2018, we were just dreaming about what it would be like if RE4 found its way into the RE engine. Well, dreams do come true, as Resident Evil 4 Remake looks fantastic. The characters look amazing overall. One look at Ashley and you can immediately tell how she's outgrown that PS2 era damsel in distress look. Enemy designs received special attention, of course, as the Ganados and the Las Plagas are now littered with the disgusting detail that the RE engine is so good at rendering. Match that with eerie lighting and improved textures in the game world, and you'll have yourself a vastly improved horror atmosphere. The game features animations that are consistent with the style found in the past few Resident Evil remakes, and as a result, the game has a more realistic and fluid movement to it. Seeing it side by side with the original emphasizes how far technology has come since 2005. All in all, it looks just as good as we imagined it to be. It's no surprise given what we've seen in previous RE titles. One look at any of the trailers makes it clear that this isn't going to be some sort of 1:1 remake like The Last of Us Part 1. Beyond the visuals, the gameplay was remade from the ground up and feels significantly different from the original. Just like the RE2 and 3 remakes, the classic tank controls have now been replaced with a more modern and contemporary third-person gameplay. The original was loved for how deliberately slow and methodical its action was, but the remake offers a faster pace this time around. Everyone moves significantly faster, and Ganados are relentless in their attempts to overwhelm Leon. Thankfully, iconic features such as the context-sensitive kicks are still there, alongside that splash damage that we love to use for crowd control. This also means that the classic headshot kick knife strategy will still be featured in the game, but now players will be given a prompt to stab a downed enemy instead of having to manually attack with a knife. It's a good sign that Capcom is streamlining RE4's distinct combat, as well as adding some improvements such as the ability to bring a Plaga Ganado to its knees. New features are also making it into the game, such as adding more layers on how knives will be utilized. Knives again have limited durability just like in the RE2 remake, and can also be upgraded. The biggest change as far as the tool is concerned is its capability to block a wide variety of attacks. Throwing axes, crossbow bolts, molotovs, and even chainsaws. Not a problem as long as you have your trusty knife. Game director Kazunori Kadoi stated that the development team believes that QuickTime events no longer have the same novelty they had in 2005, which is why they opted to minimize the QTE segments. Even the initial Krause encounter has now been overhauled into a more traditional boss fight with occasional button prompts. A crouch and stealth mechanic also makes its way into the remake, similar to its implementation in Revelations 2. Leon can even do stealth kills deals with knives. Footage shows that it adds a new dynamic to some of the iconic encounters, like the one with the Gyarados. The remake will also expand upon what the Blue Medallion side quest did in the original, by adding blue parchment requests all over the game world. Can't wait to maybe get that free Punisher again. While the omission of the original controls is initially off-putting to longtime fans, the recent footage shows that the remake does stay true to the spirit of the original, and even strikes a better balance of survival horror and action. Capcom set the standard on how to modernize classics with Resident Evil 2 Remake, and it looks like they're continuing to do that with the 4th mainline entry. In Leon's journey in the rural areas of Spain, he'll encounter both new and returning enemies. You'll have your village Ganados, Dr. Salvador, Bella Sisters, and many more. But a new Ganado variant shows up later during the cabin chapter, called the Cow-Headed Ganado, which carries a large sledgehammer. It's definitely one of the heavier enemies in the game, akin to Dr. Salvador. Gyarados now look even more terrifying when compared to their original design. They're a lot more buff now with bigger and badder claws. Before, Leon could easily take 2 to 3 of these guys, but as seen from the remake, it's a lot deadlier now, akin to a mini-boss. Definitely not your run-of-the-mill Ganado anymore. Another scary addition is that the Plagas can now leap and attach themselves to the ceiling, being able to cross the distance between them and Leon. This really makes us wonder, will there be jump scares where a Plaga just suddenly drops down out of nowhere? With enemy designs being as grossly detailed as ever, we're both excited and terrified to see the Regenerator. The fact that the trailers avoid showing any footage of them most likely means they're keeping them as a surprise for later. Resident Evil 4 always had, as far as we've seen,
got a selection of good things on sale, stranger.
Our favorite merchant functions the same as before, featuring weapons and items for sale, as well as weapon upgrade services. A trade service is now available which allows Leon to obtain various rewards by exchanging the pink gems he finds scattered all over the game world. New weapons are available to Leon, such as a ball thrower that can be armed with attachable mines. We're gonna hold off any judgment for the new voice of the merchant.
Welcome. What can I interest you in?
But so far, we just don't feel that 480 CRT TV base of the original.
What are you buying?
Know what I'm saying? Resident Evil 4 Remake is something we've been waiting for almost a decade. In what could have been easily interpreted as an action game, Capcom has successfully modernized Resident Evil 4 in a way that not just stays true to the spirit of the original, but actually improves upon its survival horror aspects. It brings the series full circle back to when it first really hit its stride, with its masterful harmony of both frenetic action and horror. Resident Evil 4 Remake cannot replicate the industry-defining influence of the original, nor would it be right to expect it to, but it's making a damn good case as one of the best survival horror games in recent memory. From what we've seen, we're looking at something that could be at least a 9 out of 10 for us. But hold your horses, people. We know we're getting ahead of ourselves with this game. But that's the fun part. We'll be sure to follow this video up with a very well-informed review once the game comes out, and we'll see if this 2023 interpretation of one of the best games of all time really is what we think it's gonna be. Capcom hasn't given us much reason to worry, and that's saying a lot considering that they've already revealed a huge chunk of the game. Regardless, we have nothing but high hopes for March 24th. What do you guys think about what we know so far about Resident Evil 4 Remake? What part of the game are you excited to experience? Let us know in the comments below. Until then, this is Game Made Information Station, signing off.